All right. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Always got to fix my hair. Oh man, it gets worse the more I mess with it. So I am not in the office, as you might be able to tell from my background. I'm actually in at a Zion National Park. So we like to travel around quite a bit. So I'm on my laptop, and so my internet's not the greatest. My camera's not the greatest, but we still make do with what we can. So. I want to welcome you as you're joining on. We're going to talk about what I want to do is talk about tomb forks in general and really explain what a tomb fork is. But then in particular, we're going to talk about a particular tomb fork that is the same team also built Alto, which is an auto compounder. Okay, so I don't usually like auto compounders. I'm kind of burned out on those. But the fact that it's combined with a tomb fork, I love tomb forks. Then after we're done talking about that, and feel free to ask questions. This is an AMA with me, kind of. So feel free to ask me questions. We can talk about other projects as we get going if you'd like to as well. What I need you to do as we get started is please hit the like button. And please leave a comment and just say, let me know where you're watching from. So again, I'm at Zion National Park in Utah. But let me know where it is that you are watching from. And then ask some questions. Let me know what projects you're excited about right now, which, just if you just want my opinion on some of these projects, happy to give those as well. I've been on a DAG spree for a while. So I've just been dagging into that hole a little bit and love it quite a bit. So, but what we're going to start by talking about today is Ames DeFi. So let me see if I can get my screen to share properly here. Just to warn you, we might get some like screenception here when I first share it, because this is my laptop. Usually I have my second monitor so I can share real easily, but I'm not able to do that here. So let's see. There we go. Look at that. Tech. They call me the tech guy. So we're going to start off right off the bat with crypto false bombs. Alto is a scam fork of Seifu, which is also a fork of Titano. So we've got some Alto lovers in the house already, I can see. First thing that I would say is that Seifu, while it uses the same idea as Titano, it is not a fork of Titano. And Alto is a little bit different too. And again, you'll see because it's around this tomb fork. And the tomb fork is what I actually really like the most. So, but yeah, feel free to ask questions, even opinions. That's totally fine. We're going to talk about Apex. We have a question about that. Got Crypto Joe watching from the Philippines. Nice. What time is it in the Philippines right now? Let's see. Just came from Zion. Where are you staying? I am staying at Zion. I don't really know. It's some lodge right outside. Ponderosa, I think, is the name of it. It's a lodge right outside of Zion National Park. So yeah, pretty cool place. Then tomorrow we're actually driving up to Reno. Then we're going to drive out to Sacramento, Yosemite National Park. And then we're going to drive down to Phoenix. And then we're going to drive back I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. So that's kind of my plan. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about tomb forks, and then we can chat a little bit more. So this is Ames DeFi. Okay. And so it's a tomb fork, and it's pegged to BUSD. And actually what's really incredible about Ames is that they were pegged to UST. Okay, so they were pegged to Terra's stablecoin, and as you know, Terra's stablecoin turned out to not be so stable. So Terra's stablecoin fell apart. So Ames, actually, this tomb fork kind of fell apart a little bit. Their peg was down at 0.3, and we'll talk about peg here in a minute. But then they switched. They did kind of an emergency switch from, okay, we're abandoning UST, we're going to go to BUSD, and they are back above peg. So that is pretty incredible. And TVL is still low, so we're still pretty early. So as you'll see, we've got some pretty good APRs here. So for those of you who don't know what a tomb fork is, and if you have questions about this, let me know, although I have to switch windows to go back to the questions. But basically, tomb forks are not unique to crypto. They're basically how all economy is meant to work. So you're meant to have a currency. So in this case, it's Ames that is pegged to something else. Okay. So in traditional economy, you might think of like the US dollar pegged to gold. Okay. So you have a currency, which again is Ames, and it's pegged to BUSD. So the goal in this economy is you want to keep Ames equal to one BUSD. Okay, that's what we call peg. So if in a perfect world, it sits right at 1. Okay, that'd be like the perfect world. So how it works is when the peg gets below 1, so if Ames gets down to, we'll say 98 cents or something like that, then what we need to do is we need to burn some Ames in order to increase the price, right? That's how you increase price, is you decrease the amount of tokens in circulation. Okay, so again, how the U.S. economy should work is it should be pegged to something, and then if the dollar gets below the price that it should be, then we stop printing dollars. Okay, and actually we do bonds. Again, this is how traditional finance is supposed to work. So if you get below peg, you get these bonds, which is essentially trading Ames tokens for these bond tokens. And so what that does is that takes Ames tokens out of circulation, which raises the price of the Ames tokens. Okay, so you can see how this would work in traditional finance is if the dollar was getting if inflation was too high, you might say, then you could stop printing dollars and you could instead go heavy on bonds and get dollars out of circulation, and that would raise the price of dollars. Okay, so that's essentially what we're trying to do here. So if you're under peg, you trade your Ames for these bonds, and then what happens is when the peg gets back up, you can then exchange your bonds back for Ames, and you're going to get that difference between the two. Okay, so bonds, you can actually, in a good tomb fork where you keep peg pretty regularly, if you do happen to dip below peg, a lot of times it's a good idea to just fill up on bonds, and then when it gets back above peg, you then end up with a ton of money. Okay, that's a good way to make money. Now the risk is sometimes these tomb forks fall way out of whack. So if the peg is getting too low and you fill up on bonds, but then the community doesn't work together and it just keeps going lower and lower and lower, your bonds become worthless eventually. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful, kind of know the ecosystem of what you're talking about. And I'm going to check comments here. Seems more like a grape fork, and yes, it's a tomb fork, and kind of all the tomb forks, and grape and EMP and bomb, they're kind of all the same, but then they add on their little pieces. Okay, so for example, this is pegged to BUSD instead of grape is pegged to MIM. Okay, so yeah, hope that makes sense. Yeah, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so that's when you get below peg. Now, when you're above peg, what they want to do is, so again, we're going to think about dollars pegged to gold, although we don't do that anymore. When Nixon, well, I don't want to get into this too much, but Nixon got rid of the peg. I think it was Nixon, and said, nope, dollars are not going to be pegged to gold anymore. We're not going to be on the gold standard. But when you get above peg, then what you want to do is print a lot of Ames in this case, so that the price goes down to keep it at that dollar. So that's where these A shares come in. Okay, so when you're above peg, the Boardroom prints Ames tokens based on how many A shares you have, and it prints at a super high APR. Okay, so 1,203.21% APR is 3.32% a day. Okay, so this is printing at 3% a day, and I should have some in there, honestly. I just found out about this tomb fork just a few days ago, so I'm not in it yet. But all the tomb forks that I'm in have been pretty successful. I'll say that. Especially if you're able to get in early, you're able to make a lot of money. Okay, so again, going back, so when you're above peg, this Boardroom, you can buy these A shares, or you can produce A shares, which I'll show you in this farm here. But when you stake those A shares, it produces Ames tokens at a super high rate. So if like you have $1,000 of A shares, you're gonna be making $30 a day, okay, off of just $1,000. I mean, that's very, very high returns. Then what you can do in the meantime, so that's basically how those work. If you're above peg, the Boardroom prints a crazy, crazy high percentage. So that's what you want to do, is keep it above peg. If you happen to get below peg, you can load up on these bonds and fill up there. Okay, so and then what you do in the meantime is you have these farms, and these are kind of like like the basis of these tomb forks. And these produce, I mean, this is a pretty good APR. Usually I don't like liquidity pools because of impermanent loss, right? But in this case, Ames and BUSD are supposed to be pegged to each other, is the point of them. So you shouldn't experience too much impermanent loss. So this is kind of just 1.27% on almost a stable coin. Okay, so I mean, there's a little bit more risk because this could get depegged and it could get way out of whack. But you know, this is very, very good daily APR for something like this. Okay, so I absolutely, and then you can also do the A share BUSD. This will have impermanent loss, but it's a higher APR. And then let's see, they do have just straight staking Ames, which that's crazy. This probably won't stay this high, I'm guessing. The TVL on this, so TVL is just the total value locked. So if you're under, I mean, if you're under $1 million, you're very, very, very early. We're just over $1 million. I don't know why that's not updating. Sometimes it just takes a while. I think it's at like 1.2 million. Yeah, there we go, 1.2 million. So we're still very early. So some of these numbers can change pretty drastically as the TVL goes up. The TVL is basically just how much money people have invested in this whole ecosystem. So that's basically how these work. And then they have a strategy here where they kind of just walk through what I said. And again, if you have questions about tomb forks in particular, I do a lot of tomb forks on my channel because I like them a lot. But yeah, this would be a great time because usually I'm doing AMAs with someone. The maker of Ames, he says he doesn't speak English very well, so he didn't want to do an AMA, which is totally understandable. So here's the strategy they say is they stake in the Ames BUSD liquidity pool and the two liquidity pools. And I would do most in this one since there's not the impermanent loss. And both of those produce A shares. Then you can put A shares into the Boardroom. And then they say you swap some of it to BUSD for profit and some of it you put back either in these liquidity pools, or you could, you know, get more A shares and put them in there. So it's kind of my strategy of, you know, half you cash out and half you put back into the ecosystem. You know, to be totally honest, I need to look what this query is. This is something that is not, okay, so these are nodes. So this is not something a lot of tomb forks have, but this is just like a node, like we kind of think about nodes, you know, where a node is essentially time-locked staking. Okay, that's essentially what it is you're putting in a whole bunch today, then you're able to take out 1.71% for a long time. Okay, so these, I don't like the node projects aren't working out very well right now. But the node is not the point of this ecosystem, right? This is just something to help support the ecosystem, is this timed staking, really, where you're getting 1.71% on Ames and this 2.78% on A shares. I mean, that's not as good as the Boardroom, so, but that's pretty good there as well. And again, those numbers will change as the TVL goes up. So then the last thing I want to show you from tomb forks are the auto compounders. So, oh, you know what? I forgot I didn't even have my mic on. Could you guys even hear me this whole time? It's crazy. Could you guys even hear me? I saw my mic sitting right here next to my computer. Hopefully you can hear me better now. Okay, I think there's like an auto volume thing. Let's see. Looking to see if there's questions that you have. Okay, so you have 1K. What would you do with it? Which tomb fork would you get into? And that is a super good question. Which tomb fork would I get into? So there's kind of two ways you could approach it. There is risk reward. So if you get in early, so it's the same as anything in crypto. If you get in early, like Ames, this would be an early play, right? Like 1 million TVL. That's very, very early. So you could get in early with these higher rewards. Like you're not going to find tomb forks that have this, you know, 1200% APR in their Boardroom usually. So you can get in early with higher risk, because the problem is if the community doesn't work together, if the community doesn't know what they're doing, like if they just produce these Ames tokens and they just sell all of them and the peg starts getting low, the Boardroom stops printing and then the whole ecosystem is not worth very much when it's not printing. Okay, so you could get in early to something like this where you're going to get a higher APR, or you could get into one of the more established ones where you're going to have like EMP.money. Also, too, you want to look at what they're pegged to. So EMP's pegged to Ethereum. So if the price of Ethereum goes up or down, that's going to affect this ecosystem. So if like the price of Ethereum, one of the reasons I like EMP is because I think in the long run, Ethereum's going to go up. So if I want a high APR on Ethereum, I'm going to use a Tomb fork attached to Ethereum. Now, Ames is pegged to just a stable coin. So you're not really worried. Like BUSD is not going to ever go anywhere. So you're really just using this economy. And the two main ones that do that would be Ames, which again is your earlier, so you're going to get higher numbers. The other one is Grape Finance, which somebody already mentioned. They're pegged to MIM, and I think their TVL is probably like 10 million, maybe. Sometimes it doesn't show them. But see the advantage. So they're going to have probably lower APRs here at Grape Finance, but the benefit is that this community has kept Grape on peg for like a really long time. The Grape Finance community is awesome about keeping things on peg. And it really is a community effort. Like you have to work together as a community. You don't want to just come in here and sell all your Grape all the time or sell all your Ames all the time, because everybody makes more money if you keep Ames above peg. So if I had 1,000, diversification is usually what I think is best. So maybe, if you just want to do stable coins, maybe you do 500 in Ames, 500 in Grape, or something like that. Somebody brought up Frozen Walrus is another one. So yeah, there's a bunch of different. And then as for your strategy within the ecosystem, I would probably start with the farms, because the farms will start producing A shares for you, and then you can take those A shares and start putting them in the boardroom. Okay. Another option would be these nodes, since they do have pretty high APRs. I mean, maybe I don't know. There's really not like a right or wrong answer. I kind of just diversify. Let's see. I will show you. What did I call? I had a spreadsheet. So these were just my goals for some of the Tomb forks that I'm in. Again, what I was shooting at in these Tomb forks was I want to make $750 a day. So like in EMP, you can see this is my goal. I want to have a bunch in the farms. They have straight just Ethereum staking, so I had a bunch in that. And this is maybe not a good example because they have a lot of other things going on. Let's go to Grape. Okay, so for Grape, I want to put 7,500 in the Grape node, 3,000 in the wine node, 5,000 in the winery, which is like their boardroom, and then 9,000 in their farms. So that's kind of how I just spread it out in the ecosystem itself. And the last thing I do want to show you is the auto compounder, because if you don't want to mess around with the whole, like you're just like, oh, the Tomb fork, that's too confusing. Which hopefully how I explained it it's really not too confusing. It's once you kind of understand what's going on. But you can use these auto compounders where basically it puts it in the farm, but then it just sells the A shares and then reinvests it. So you can almost look at this as like a really high APY savings account, because again, these are supposed to stay pegged to each other. So there is some risk because it could get depegged. But if you don't want to mess with anything, then probably your best bet is just come in here. You can zap in. So that's really nice. If you just get some BUSD and you can put however much you want in here, and then you're good to go. And then you don't even have to check it anymore. It does it all automatically. Let's see. Got some questions here. How long do these projects normally last, or are the ones you're in still going? It really depends on the community. So, and some communities just are stronger than others. Like Grape, that I was talking about before, they have been on peg for like, I want to say months. Like they've just been going, and then the community just knows, hey, don't sell too many grapes so that it goes below peg. The community is just really good. Other ones like bomb.money is pegged to Bitcoin, and they have struggled to stay above peg. So they were above peg the other day, but I think they're back below. So they're at 0.96, so that's close. EMP's been pretty much above peg for a few months now. Then there's other ones, like newer ones. There's a new one which I'm going to do a video on this sometime too. But Gold Mint is it's interesting. It's a tomb fork that's pegged to PaxG, which is a token. I could do a whole video on PaxG, but PaxG is meant to be a crypto coin that follows the price of gold itself. Okay, so Gold Mint is a tomb fork that's pegged to the price of gold, but you can see they're way below peg. Okay, and their TVL, I'm not sure what it is. Sometimes, for some reason, sometimes this TVL just takes a long time. There we go. So yeah, we're still pretty early in Gold Mint too. But so you can see where Ames, again, early on this Gold Mint, but they're way below peg. This Ames one, we're also early, but they're above peg. And actually, they were below peg when UST fell apart, but then they switched to BUSD. So these can last for a really long time depending on the community. So I would usually say make sure you take some profit is a good idea. And then when a new tomb fork launches, how does the Genesis process usually work? Bomb's new project starts Genesis farms on 5/25. So Genesis, let me see if I can find, does Gold Mint still have some of their Genesis vaults up? So when a tomb fork first starts, they call it the Genesis pools. And the Genesis pools are basically, you get free tokens. Okay, I'm going to switch over to Ethereum here because Gold Mint's on Ethereum. That's one of the pains of it, is Gold Mint's on Ethereum. So like when you claim and everything, anytime you want to do something, it costs you $20. So, it's just not worth it. So these are what the Genesis pools look like. And this is when a tomb fork is first starting out. And it doesn't show the APRs, but usually it's pretty high APRs. And usually there's like 6 tokens that they're looking to get in their treasury, if you will. And so you can just deposit like USDC in this Gold Mint case. And we were getting like 1,000% APR just for free. Then you can just withdraw your USDC at the end of the Genesis, and you just end up with a bunch of GLDM. Okay, so the Genesis pools can be very, very profitable. What you have to look out for with Genesis pools is that at the end of the Genesis period, you notice all of these earn the token. So if Ames's Genesis pool, it would have been everybody was earning tons of Ames tokens. This is how like the initial Ames tokens get into circulation. And what you have to look out for is, since there's now so many Ames tokens in circulation, or whatever the Genesis pool token is, and there's very few people who hold them, and you end up with like maybe 100 people that have all the tokens. And that can be a dangerous situation because, again, if the community's not bought in, then they can just sell all the tokens, and then you really didn't get anything out of the ecosystem. So you do have to really look out for that if you're getting in super early. So there's just always this ratio of get in early, high risk, high reward, wait for a while, and then you can get lower risk, but you're going to get lower reward too. So in a Genesis pool, there's definitely a lot of opportunity to make a lot of money. So, and the fact that Bomb is making a new project, Bomb already has a pretty strong community. So, I'll probably get in the Genesis pool for Bomb. I'll just be totally honest. So, yeah, I hope that was helpful. All right, let's see if we have other questions. Is Ames BUSD similar to MDB Plus, stablecoin pegged to BUSD? They are similar in that they're both pegged to BUSD. But MDB Plus, which is $1 Million Baby, they're not doing a tomb fork, so they're not keeping it pegged. This is basically the community keeping it pegged. And if the community wants to screw it up, if the community says, we don't want Ames to be pegged to BUSD anymore, we want to cash out, they could do that. Everybody who has Ames could take it all out of the farms, sell it all, and the price would tank. Okay, so MDB Plus, if I remember correctly, from talking to Godfather. I have an AMA with Godfather from $1 Million Baby, but that is a algorithmic stable coin that it's not based on the community. There's actually stuff going on in the background from the buy and sell taxes to support that price there. So it's a similar idea in that it's a stable coin, but it's not kept pegged the same way, if that makes sense. All right. And then somebody mentioned Frozen Walrus is pegged to USDC. So there's a lot of these popping up. And I do worry that, this has happened when we went through DAO season and we went through node season and we went through auto compounder season. Tomb forks have been around for a long time, but I worry if there's too many forks, then, the TVL on all of them is going to be like $1 million. And when the TVL is $1 million, the peg is very easy. Like, I could go in with $25,000 and mess up the peg. Just when it's that low, whales can really mess things up. Whereas like Tomb, the original, let me just show you that. I think their TVL is probably, so this is a really old one. They've been around, I want to say since like September, okay? And they're pegged to Phantom. And I just want to see what they're way below peg, and that's partly because the price of Phantom has just been crashing. I want to see what their TVL is. At one point, their TVL was like 600 million, but I I just want to check what it is now. I think I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit too. We'll wait for that to pop up, and I'll answer a few other questions. How do you choose one project over another? What percentage of failed projects over money makers? That's a very good question. So, my biggest strategy is probably just diversify. Like, if you get into a lot of different projects and then you're not relying on any one to succeed. Probably what I'm looking for in money makers is strong founders. That's why I do so many AMAs, is because I want to talk to the founder and like, do they know what they're talking about? And actually, my biggest failed projects have not been what has lost me the most money. It's been like the rug pulls and the exploits and the hacks. Like Dark Forest DeFi, for example. Dark Forest, I put in $3,000 and they got a hack, and I lost $3,000. Okay, so that wasn't a failed project. Like, they're still kicking, but that's probably, in my opinion, that's the biggest risk, are those exploits. Elephant did the same thing. I have like $15,000 in Elephant. They had an exploit. Thankfully, they didn't lose all their reserves. But yes. Mango, where does the money come from? So yeah, that's a very good economic theory question. It is an ecosystem that does rely on money coming in to the ecosystem. But what's different, a tomb fork can't function in and of itself forever. There will be a time where no new money comes in, and the peg will kind of start to fall. So yeah, usually you'd want to see, hey, are you doing something else to get some revenue other than just the tomb fork? Now, it's a little bit different when it's pegged to something like Ethereum, because then kind of what you're doing is so like EMP money is pegged to Ethereum. So you're kind of just taking Ethereum and providing extra liquidity for it. So really, your revenue makers are everything that Ethereum does to go up. So when people buy Ethereum, that helps the EMP network. So if that makes sense. Now, when you're pegged to a stable coin, it's a little bit different. And yeah, if there's not new money coming in and they don't get some kind of a revenue stream outside, there is a point in time where it probably will not be able to keep peg. So yeah, that's a good point. When you show percentages every month for monthly returns, is there a strategy? Are you getting in and out, or do you just get into a position once and pull out half each month and compound half? I take it project by project. So for example, I have these goals for Grape, Bomb, and EMP are my 3 favorite tomb forks. So I'm trying to hit these particular goals. So if I don't need the money, I have a lot of in-person expenses. Unfortunately, I'm not able to take all my money and just reinvest it, because I just have a lot of expenses. I have 3 kids and 4 college students living with me right now, and kind of support them all. And we just have had a lot of expenses. And I guess traveling to Zion too, traveling all over the United States. And life's just kind of expensive. So it kind of depends on the project. If I feel good about the project, I'm probably more likely to just compound. If I feel like, oh man, this is sketchy, like if it's an auto compounder, like we're going to talk about Alto here in a second, I'm probably more, hey, I want to get out my initial, and I might not even compound half. I might take out full. So it kind of just depends project by project and when I need money. If there's other things that I'm looking to invest in that I'm really excited about, a lot of times I'll take like riskier projects and take the profits and be like, oh, thank goodness I got those profits from that. I could have lost everything. And then I put them in what I consider to be safer projects. So I hope that's helpful. I think Apex will be the only project that will be here in the future because they're building a sustainable ecosystem. I do like Apex. I need to look into it more. We're working on getting an AMA scheduled because, again, that's how I learn about projects is through AMAs. Let's see. Have you seen Piggy Finance? I've not seen Piggy Finance. I'm in Piggy Bank, which is Drip, part of the Drip ecosystem. I've heard of Piggy Finance, but I have not looked into it. Let's see. And by the way, if you're just joining us, thank you so much for showing up. Again, this is not my normal office, not my normal computer. I'm in Zion National Park. We're on vacation, but I brought my laptop along and still trying to get some things done. Again, I kind of consider these lives to be like a break from vacation. We've been hiking all day, and this is my break from that. But yeah, please do hit the like button, by the way, and feel free to share, like on Twitter. If you want more people to come join us and talk. What do you think of the Crow, Tomb Fork, Dark Crypto, and FTM Dark Opera? So I have not heard of those. I do like Phantom long term, but Phantom unfortunately has been very volatile in price. And so Tomb Forks will only do as well as the token that they're pegged to. So I'm kind of staying away from Phantom pegged things for now, just because Phantom has been very volatile. Let's see. Just joined. Did you get into Alto yet? No, I'm not. I'm just about to get there. We're talking about Ames, their Tomb Fork. Ben says I'd get into EMP money with 1K. Yeah, and he brings up a good point. The detonator. Well, let me just show you real quick. I don't want to take too much away from Ames, but so the detonator on EMP, when you deposit into that, they take out one person a day. The top deposit wins $34,000, and one random person wins $34,000. And so this is locked in there, and then so it's kind of like Drip. It's locked in there, and you claim it out each day. So yeah, that's I won the biggest deposit with like 5K and won 25K. Britt says my buddy hit the 30K lotto. Yeah, that'll be a good day for you. All right, so let's get back to Ames. I do want to give. That is who I said I was going to do this video on, so I don't want to get too distracted. So that's Ames. So hopefully that makes sense what they're doing from Tomb Fork standpoint. Now the maker of Ames has also built on this Alto protocol, and so it's an auto compounder. And I don't usually like auto compounders because, as we've seen with when you start mentioning names, people get offended. But when you talk about Titano and Seifu and Libero and some of these auto compounders, the problem is that when people are holding on to too many tokens, and so when they're ready to dump, they have a lot that they can dump, okay? Whereas in like a Tomb Fork, a lot of those tokens are held in there, and it's really hard for people to just sell them all at once. Now, Alto's doing a few things a little bit differently. Well, the first thing I want to show you, and if you want to get involved, again, you can just buy Alto here off Bog Finance, but I want the token address. I want to just show you their chart. Oh, no, I missed it. Just need the contract address, but Bog gets rid of no. Okay, I got it. So I want to show you their chart. Because yeah, they've been on a roll here recently, and we are still pretty early. This is actually one of the reasons I didn't want to wait anymore on this video, is because, well, inevitably what happened is as the price goes up, people say, why didn't you were in it here, why didn't you make a video here? And a lot of times it's just timing. Like I just didn't have, first off, I'm not huge into these auto compounders, and I just haven't had time to make a video yet. So it is what it is. but they've been kind of mooning, and they're connected to the Ames protocol, which I'll show you a little bit here in a little bit. That was redundant. I'll show you in a little bit here in a little bit. I've been drinking a lot of coffee too. So here, how should I go about showing you this? Let me open the DApp here. So again, these auto compounders, they boast about this. I don't like that they have such high APYs because again, that means everybody has tons of tokens. So one thing that they're doing is they have a preservation fund, which is essentially part of their buy and sell tax is going to this fund in stable coins that they can use in if things are going really badly, like let's say the price just completely crashes or something, they can use this fund that they have that could get pretty large eventually, you know, depending on when they need to use it, but they could use it to do buybacks. They could use it in case there's some kind of an exploit or something. They call it an insurance fund. So I think that's a little bit unique. Now, most of the auto compounders are doing this now. We're part of one thing that you want in a protocol is you want a lot of liquidity. The more liquidity there is, the more stable the price will be. So they have a buy and sell tax on this token, and part of that goes to liquidity each time. So basically, over time, their liquidity is getting bigger and bigger. 2% of all traded is burned, so that's auto burning, which a lot of the new auto compounders are starting to do that. And this is what I really want to talk about is this dual yield farming, which I'll show you here in a minute. And they also have these quarterly bonuses. So every 3 months, 25% of the total initial liquidity will be unlocked and distributed to bank stakers. Okay, so this bank is kind of an interesting thing here. So this is their dashboard, and again, it's the same makers as Ames. Let's see, we want to go back here, be on BSC. So this is the bank, and if I have the details wrong, I apologize. This is why I like to do AMAs, is because then you can hear it straight from their mouth, and there's no way I can mess it up. But basically, you can put your Alto in this bank, you can lock it, and you can lock it for a certain amount of time, and you get a bonus for the longer that you lock it into. And here's kind of what the APRs are. So 7 days, you get 6%, 14 days, 9%. And so those are the APRs. But basically what you get as rewards are BUSD, BNB, and those Ames tokens from the Tomb Fork. Okay, so basically they have this Tomb Fork and this auto compounder meshed together into this ecosystem. And this could be dangerous because, again, if people are getting more Ames tokens, they could decide, if the community isn't smart, they could decide, you want the community to be smart and realize, hey, we are going to get more money if we keep the Boardroom printing. Don't sell all your Ames tokens. Stick them in these farms and get shares and put them in here and you'll get more money, okay? That's what you want. But there is the danger that if, Alto keeps mooning like it has been doing, then, there could be a lot of Ames tokens that people are getting out of the bank here, and it could be dangerous. So, but yeah, I just think that's cool. Very interesting. If you are just starting off with just 5K, would you start with Drip or Tomb Fork? How would you split the projects? It depends on your risk tolerance. So honestly, if I had just 5K and I wanted to build wealth long term, I probably would stick it in yield nodes, honestly, just because there's not much chance you're going to lose it, or there's less chance, we'll word it that way. There's less chance that you're going to lose it. So I like yield nodes to look at that as like, it's my long-term profit, that's getting this 8% a month, or it looks like I'll probably get about 6% a month. So that's kind of how I would think about it. Now, if you have a higher risk tolerance and you're like, okay, this is 5K that I'm just playing with, it doesn't really, if I lose it, that'd be a bummer. It's not like I want to lose it, but I'm okay going for a higher reward. I probably would do a Tomb Fork. So again, you could consider probably the 3 that I would think about. If you want to get in early, then yeah, this Ames one is good. Like it's early, it's pegged to a stable coin. The community has already shown some resilience. So that would be a good one. If you wanted a more established one, Grape Finance or EMP, if you want to take your shot at getting that on a 5K deposit, getting the top deposit for the day and getting an extra 30K. That's kind of how I would look at it. Let's see. I do still like Drip and Elephant, and you might just believe in different projects than I do. Like, I've been wrong about a lot of things. Like, don't just take what I say and do it. I mean, I've been wrong. I had at one point I had like $150,000 in Anchor and UST depegged, and I ended up losing about 35,000 bucks in UST depegging. And so like I pushed Anchor all the time, right? Like, I was like, hey, UST is a stable coin that's backed by billions of dollars. It'd be hard for it to lose peg, but lo and behold, it lost it. Are you going to invest in Titan, releasing in like 8 days, and is a Seifu fork mixed with a Tune fork, and they have their own DEX launching with partnerships already? That's interesting. I'll have to take a look. So it kind of sounds similar to what they're doing here. I'll have to take a look at it. I've not looked into Titan. Someone else did mention it to me, but I've not looked into it yet. So I'll have to take a look at it. What's done is done. Are you going to invest or not? Yes. So my plan is I have some Alto already, and I will put some in Ames.DeFi also. Again, since we're so early, I do consider this probably riskier. If you've seen my blueprint, what is it called now? For financial freedom. There you go. That's a catchy title. But I talk about, as you go right up here, you get higher returns, but it's riskier. Although here is where I had Anchor before. I had them here as like my second safest category. So the earlier you are, the more degen it is. So we're getting close to those 40% a day, right? Actually, in the Boardroom, if we're getting 3% a day, 3.32% a day, we're getting like 100% a month, right? So this would be ultra degen, because it's so new, and I'd kind of put it over there. Whereas one that's more established, been around longer, I'd probably put closer into this bucket. So again, it's just kind of all about how your risk tolerance and how you're thinking through things. Let's see. Nice one. I won't ever get that one, but compounding daily till I get to 50 tickets a day, then who knows, I might be able to get the random. Yes. Have you seen any updates on Sphere? Is the next question. Yes. So there are big updates coming with Sphere. I'm actually potentially I might become an ambassador for Sphere. We're kind of talking through it, and I have to kind of know what that means before I do it. A lot of times people ask me to partner or be an ambassador, an advisor, and I don't really know what it means, and I say yes, and then I find out that I'm doing all sorts of things that I didn't really know I was doing. But so yes, there are big updates coming on Sphere. I'll probably have a Sphere update video coming soon. Lost so much on Sphere so far. Hype train for that project is killing me. Yeah, and that's the bummer about these auto compounders. And I'll talk about Strong here in a minute. And actually, these calculators are what really show the problem with these auto compounders. Now, I like Alto better because it's also connected to a Tune fork. So they have this bank. So they encourage you to not just sell your tokens. But the problem is, let's say that I put in, let's say the price is at 24 bucks. So let's say I want to put in we'll say just $1,000 bucks. Okay. So we'll say I have 41 Alto tokens. Is that right? Okay. So in 6 months, I'm up to $56,000. Okay. If the price stays the same. And that's the problem, is people come into these calculators. I actually hate these calculators. But people come into these calculators and they do what I just did there, and they say, what if I put in $1,000 in 6 months, I'm gonna have $56,000? And it looks awesome. But the problem is, every single person who's putting in $1,000 right now in 6 months are gonna have 2,337 tokens. And so the problem is, when we get 6 months down the road, people are holding on. Everybody who only had 39 tokens, now in 6 months, everybody has over 2,000 tokens. And so this is what happened to Titano. Is Titano started off great, but then when people lose faith in the project for one reason or another, maybe it's a video someone makes, or maybe it's just the price goes down a little bit. Sometimes the price going down a little bit is all it takes for people to lose faith. And then they sell, and they've got tons of tokens to sell. And another problem is they know, oh, I can sell half. I have 2,337 tokens. I can sell half and still have tons of money. And so there's no reason to keep the tokens. Is really the biggest problem. So that's why I like this bank, where it's like, hey, if you keep your tokens, you'll get BUSD, BNB, and Ames. It's still going to need community effort where, hey, don't sell your tokens, stake them and get these, rewards. But it's just kind of risky. So personally, I don't like the auto compounders very much. All right, so let's talk about StrongBlock reward caps. And yeah, if you guys have other questions, if you have questions about Alto or Ames.defi, I do want to show you how to get involved too. So for Alto, you just buy your tokens. Let's go back to the main site. You just go to it looks like it was up there in the nav bar too. But you just buy Alto. It'll take you to Bogged Finance. There's a buy and sell tax, but Bogged takes care of the auto tax for you. So you just take BNB. I don't have any in there, but let's just you say, hey, I want to send 10 BNB and get 130 tokens. And the nice thing about these auto compounders is you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to stake or anything. It just sits in your wallet and grows. Now you might want to go put it into the bank so that you start getting that BNB and BUSD and Ames. So you might want to come in here after you buy your tokens and say, hey, I want to lock. And maybe you want to stagger this. That's kind of what we do in traditional finance with CDs is you kind of stagger so that different amounts are getting unlocked at different times. So you could say, maybe I want a quarter to lock for 7 days, a quarter to lock for 14 days, a quarter to lock for 30 days, and maybe a quarter to lock for 365 days or something like that. Maybe that's something that you want to do, but it will be good. Like you can see, they have $1 million that's locked for 365 days. Okay, so I tell you, that's very big. Having 63,000 Alto tokens that people can't touch for a year. Okay, I'm debating how much I should say. For me, I'll just say for me, I would probably not lock it for this long. Because how many protocols do we know that it even lasts for a year? I would feel pretty good about the 30-day. You still get a pretty good bonus. 60-day, I mean, that's a pretty good bonus to get. But I don't know. For me, I just probably wouldn't feel great staking for that long. But the extra percentage has gotten people, and yeah, $1 million. I can't believe that actually. Over $1.5 million staked for a year. Locked for a year. That seems just bonkers to me, but it is what it is. So strong nodes. Let me talk about this for just a minute, and we'll get to some more questions. I'm not very happy about what Strong has done. Okay, that's I'm not happy about that at all. I think they lied pretty much because they said many times Ethereum nodes will taper at some point, but will never go to zero. And then all of a sudden they said, not only is it going to go to zero, but it's going to be like a lot of your nodes are going to just be done now. Okay. And so I don't like what they did. I think they were dishonest. Now they had to do something because the price was just tanking so badly. Also, I'm just very tired. I'm very tired of protocols saying they're building things in the future. And it's like, well, when in the future? Like the price is going down every day. I don't need something in the future. We need it now. So I've stopped even looking at roadmaps as much when I'm looking at projects, because sometimes these roadmaps take so long for people to get to them. Like if they have a chain on the roadmap, I almost disregard that because it's like, well, that could be a year. Oh man, I'm going to go back to the small view. That could be a year away. It's like, who knows? A chain's not an easy thing to build. So I'm not real happy with Strong. I'm going to just sell. I'm not going to compound anymore. I think I've about broken even. I've probably made money on Strong, to be honest. I've been in for a long time, since like July of last year. But probably not going to compound anymore. I'm kind of just tired of it. I don't like Ethereum, the whole chain either, because just to do anything costs so much. To claim my strong rewards cost me like $500, and then they're not worth $500. So I'm not happy about it. Okay, that's the best, easiest way I can say. Let's see. So would you start with Alto, then go to Ames, vice versa, or split invest? Ooh, that's a very interesting question. Depending on how much you're putting in, I probably would split invest. I just love diversifying, um, personally. So that's probably what I would do is I'd say, okay, we're going to do half into Alto, half into Ames, and then in Alto, we're going to lock. I mean, you might as well lock it for at least 7 days. Like, I don't know why you would not lock it for a while. I'm trying to think why you would not want to do that. Um, I mean, if you see the price starting to crash tomorrow and you want to throw it, you can't if you lock it for even 7 days. Um, so that's probably what I would do. And then in Ames, the Tomb Fork, I'd probably do maybe half in the Boardroom, half in the farms. I was going to say another half in the auto compounder, but maybe you want to just put a little bit in the auto compounder. That's just like you just, sit it there and forget it for a while. Does the locked Alto still auto compound? Yes. I believe it does. I don't have the team here, so I can't. But yeah, so like Libero kind of did a similar thing to this. And when you put it in the bank, it's still auto compounded. Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be worth it. Um, because like these numbers are going to be less than the 2.6% a day or whatever you get from auto compounding, right? So these are what you're going to get, I believe, in these, but I think you'll still auto compound in here. So I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you do. Otherwise, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to do that. I think they are banking on getting ROI from the quarterly bonus. Yeah, so that very well could be. So if you lock for a year, you get this huge bonus, and then yeah, once a quarter, they're unlocking a bunch of their liquidity and giving it out to people in the bank. So yeah, that could be a strategy. Is just, hey, I'm just going to keep a bunch in the bank. I don't know. Just if I had a lot of money, I would not want to keep it in there for that long. I haven't seen any other auto compounders last for a year. So there's just no reason for me to really think that it'll still be here in a year. I mean, I like the project. I like the founder, and I like the tune that it's has a Tomb Fork with it. But it's like a year is so long in DeFi in these types of projects. Spear. Yes, Spear. That was very disappointing. Also, some of it was unfortunate timing with launching at the same time that crypto was crashing, and specifically at the same time that a stable coin was being depegged. That was unfortunate timing. But yeah, I'm not super happy with. I don't like V2s. It's like if you didn't. Yeah, I hate to say bad things about people, but yeah, if V1 didn't work, why would we want V2? I would prefer they just refund everyone. Um, that's personally what I would prefer rather than a V2. I don't know. If V1 didn't work, I wouldn't want V2. I put in like 100. It's already at 400 in Alto. Yeah, it's been going up super crazy right now. It's been going up very, very quickly. And that's part of why, like, I wouldn't want to lock it up for too long, is because if it does moon, I mean, you'll get bigger rewards here, but like, I don't know, I'd say take some profit. Like if I'm looking at a chart, do I still have that contract? Oh, my kids are back. You're gonna probably hear some noise here in a minute. Um, but if it does keep mooning, like if it goes way up, I mean, I want to have the ability to sell some of it, get my initial back. So you would hate for it. It's at $24 right now. It was at like $6 a couple days ago. If it goes up to $240, like if it 10x's, you just would hate for all this to be locked up in there. Like that would be such a bummer where you can't get anything out. But it is what it is. How about the longevity in these protocols and a possible price action throughout the year? So Tomb Forks I'm pretty familiar with, and they have a lot of longevity. We haven't seen auto compounders with much longevity. and we haven't really seen an auto compounder mixed with a tomb fork, so I don't totally know. They're doing some unique things. Again, all of these are kind of economic experiments. So again, that's where I say that if you're looking on this, these types of projects are going to probably be over here. They're experiments where you could make a lot of money, or you could lose your money. So again, if you're, yield nodes would be something where it's like, okay, I'm not going to make a ton of money, but I'm not probably not going to lose my money either. Okay, so that's kind of how you can think about it. And then even safer freeway is one, where you're getting 2.7% a month, but your chances of you losing your money are very slim there. Can you explain how you were still earning monthly returns on projects that were going down for April? So I guess so for like drip, the price of drip has gone down, but I have a lot of drip. Like I have like 12,000 drip now or something like that. So even though the price is going down, I'm able to claim 1% a day. So I'm able to claim 120 drip a day. So even though the price is going down, I'm making less than I was the month before, but I'm still making that daily claim out. So even like the node projects that are failing, like Strong, we'll use an example. It's still giving me that zero point 0.1 a day up to a certain point. So I don't know. Does that help your question, trade book? Alto can reach $50 within 2 to 3 months if current performance continues. Yeah, and when you're looking at what I like to do when I'm trying to guess on prices is I look at the current market cap. Which let's see if we can find that here. So I try to find like the current market, okay, 14 million. And then you can kind of find a similar type project. Now, so like I would doubt that Alto gets as big as like Titano. So what's another, let's say maybe like, what's another good auto compounder that's not, well, let's just say Seifu, okay? They probably won't get as big as Seifu. Um, so their market cap is at 55 million, and that's down quite a bit because the price has been really tanking on Seifu. Because this is exactly what I was talking about with these auto compounders. Where let me show you the chart. So when people, let's do 3 months. That's probably too long. Yeah, okay, this is good enough. But when people believed in the project, then it's doing great. But then as soon as the market conditions get bad, we get in a bear market or whatever, or people just lose a little bit of faith. It's so easy to dump. Um, so it's kind of risky if it's not locked in some way. So, anyways, what I was talking about price action. So let's say they're at 55 million, and that's probably a little bit low for them. But let's say 55 million. So if we're at 14 million now, and you want to go up to 55 million. Now it's actually this actually won't work that well on auto compounders because you're going to end up with way more tokens. So the token price might not go up, but if your token amount of tokens you have goes up, then you're still getting this 2.3% APR. So actually, never mind what I was going to do to show you how I calculate future price. We have no idea what this is going to do. But actually, you kind of hope it stays about the same, that the price doesn't go way up. 3% a day, which is 402% APY. So actually, if the chart just stayed flat, be a little bit better, honestly, in some ways. But I don't know if that's helpful. Doesn't look like that chart's going to work very well either. It is a good looking chart, though. I will say that. Let's see if it pops up here. Look at that. I think this is since I started the live. So it looks like we got some buyers on live. Cool. What do you think about the new changes to game theory? Yeah, I need to look at it again. So game theory, they were way over peg, and then they lost peg, and then they made a whole bunch of changes. So I need to look at it again. So I'm not going to give an opinion on that one. And then we have confirmation from Martin, it auto compounds even while locked. Yeah, that's the only way it really makes sense. Otherwise, no one would lock for sure. And St. Michael says, I put 65K into StrongBlock back in January. I'll never ROI. To me, it's a dead project. They'll never deliver what they say. Too many lies. Yeah, that's basically where I'm at. That's where I'm at. There is auto compound even if you're on the bank side. Yes, correct. The difference is they can't dump it though. So if you've locked it for a year, you might end up with. So again, I just want to going back to that calculator, which again I don't like these. I wish projects would get rid of them. But let's say let's say you had um, like $1,000, $1,000 ish, and in a year you might have 5 million bucks, but you can't sell it right for a year. So even if in 6 months you end up with 73K, you can't sell it for a year. That's why um, for me, I can't wrap my head around putting it in the bank for that long. I can see 60 days. Like Titano lasted for, they were doing pretty well for like 180 days, so I could maybe wrap my mind around that. But it surprises me that people have locked in for so long there. But maybe they know something I don't. So yes, and it auto compounds in the bank. Any opinions on Chronos nodes after RJ's recommended? No, he talks about Chronos nodes a lot. I haven't looked into it honestly, very much, so don't have any opinion on it. I could make one up, but I'm not going to. Let's give it 6 months. Yeah, I could see locking some for 6 months. I could see that for sure. I was an OG with Strong. I lost almost 100 nodes with the reward cap. This is just a push to get you to go to entangled nodes. In my opinion, I'm not happy either. I believe once chain goes live, it will make money. Yeah, I know. I hate to like FUD. We always talk about don't FUD your own bag, right? Because I do. I have like 50 Strong nodes. But it's just, I mean, they've been talking about this chain for so long, and it's like, I think they've lost a lot of faith from people. So I just don't know. I don't know the future. Alto got a max supply, which is pretty neat. Yes, so they do have a max supply. Do you know, Martin? Maybe Martin, you should hop on here and do the AMA. Do you know what happens when they hit the max supply? Are they going to stop giving the auto compound, or how does that work? We'll let Martin answer that. Banking in Alto pays all three BUSD, BNB, and Ames, and the Ames can be placed in an auto compounder. Very cool. Yeah. And you can use that in the Tomb fork also. Yes, it compounds even when it's staked in the bank. Yes. So we have a lot of confirmation on that. Title rebate for 90-day locks will be huge for Alto. Yes. So that's those, you're talking about those quarterly liquidity things. Lottery is coming to reduce further sell pressure. It sounds like you guys know more about this than I do. Why am I doing the AMA? But yeah, lotteries are always good. So that's kind of what Detonator is in EMP, right? It's kind of a lottery where people do sit there and deposit like huge amounts, hoping to win the lottery, and you end up positive where it helps the ecosystem. Drip is the king of DeFi. I do love Drip. It's my biggest holding. A bummer about the price. So you can still make 1% a day even if price is falling. Yes. So you make 1% of your drip per day. So again, I have 12,000 drip tokens. So regardless of what the price of drip is, I'm getting 120 drip tokens a day. Now, I wish the price was at $200 instead of $15, because again, yeah, if I'm getting 120 a day, at $15, I'm making $1,800 a day, which is still very good. It's my biggest, drip is my biggest project, okay? So even at the price where it is, I'm still making $1,800 a day off of it. But if the price would go back up to 200 where it was, I'd be making $24,000 a day. So yeah, you can still make money even if the price is falling, just not as much. Challenge a new series, James. $500 into 4 LP Tomb forks versus other liquidity pools and show us how much could be made. That's a good idea. I actually am. I'm thinking about some new series and new challenges, and I like that one. Something around Tomb forks for sure, because I really like them. LockPay is an interesting and mooning auto compounder with anti-dump feature. Max sell per day is 1%. So yeah, interesting. You'll have to check that out. Do you think polar nodes will recover? So polar nodes, so again, it's so tough because they're building some really, really cool things, but it's just like we don't know when they're going to come, and then how much revenue are they going to create. These node projects created so much sell pressure where it's like, and the auto compounders do kind of the same thing, where there's so much sell pressure where it's like, okay, first you have to build something, and then it has to have enough buy pressure to counteract that sell pressure, which is a lot. Um, but I love the Polar Nodes team. I love the things they're building, but it's going to be hard to counter all the sell pressure. They lowered rewards today, I saw, which is going to make people angry. But you almost, I mean, you had to do it. Like, and basically what they're doing is they're trying to extend the runway for how long they have before they have to build something. Seifu has zero utility. Alto has so much going for it. Um, yeah, so Seifu is focused mainly on their marketing. So again, it's kind of just to each their own. They're focusing on their marketing rather than utility, is what it appears to me. Like they're got airline they're looking at and a race car and all these different things. But yeah, Alto's building more, and you know that because they started with the Tomb Fork. Okay, so I know that they're thinking more like um, they want some utility for their tokens. Do I still have some faith in Polar Nodes? I love the team. Um, Sheeblord Neil he's a good friend. So I love the team, and they're building some cool things. I actually have an AMA with Polar Nodes that I recorded, and then it's supposed to come out, but the price has been so bad where it's like it doesn't make a ton of sense to put out a video until they're able to get some of that stuff built and relieve some of that sell pressure. Is Drip still a viable investment for newer players in the DeFi space, or is something like EMP's detonator a better, safer alternative? That's a really, really good question. I do believe that Drip is gonna hit a bounce point at some time, and it might be, they've been working on this animal farm stuff for quite a while, and if he's able to fix the animal farm and get it going and get his focus back on Drip, then I think there's a ton of potential for Drip. What I don't like is this, because I mean, it seems to me like we've tapered a little bit, but it seems to me like, I mean, there's no reason for me to not think that if you buy today, it'll be down tomorrow. And so, it's not good to really buy something on a downtrend. You want to wait till it's on a downtrend and then starts bouncing. So if it gets back up to like, I mean, if it hit back up to like 30 or even like 25, where it just showed kind of a bounce, then I think Drip is a very solid project. One thing Drip did very well that the Node project's completely messed up on. Oh, you guys aren't even looking at the chart. Yeah, it's sharing the wrong screen. Oh, bummer. Here, let me get that over there. Let me get the Drip chart for you so you can see what I was talking about. One thing Drip did very well that the Node projects missed out on, and I think they should have learned from Drip, and like Horde did this, but you should never give lifetime rewards for anything. There should be some limit where you stop and say, okay, you get, like Drip does 365%, and then you're done. And all protocols should be doing that. There shouldn't be anything that gives you just lifetime rewards for a purchase, which is why the Node projects are in. You're just increasing sell pressure every day. Every time someone buys a node. That's what I'm gonna rant for 1 second. I hated Strong tweeted out almost every day, hey, we reached 200,000 nodes. Oh, we reached 300,000 nodes while the price was crashing. And I'm like, why are you celebrating having so many nodes? Like, you're celebrating the sell pressure increasing every day. It drove me absolutely bonkers. Anyways, so that's my thoughts. I do love EMP. If you want to, I'll post a video to a link to my video on my top 10 projects right now, which I have not changed too much. I think like 3 or 4 of them are Tomb Forks. Let me see if I can find that video real quick. My top 10 projects. Man, I do a lot of videos. I'm trying to slow down on the number of videos I do. First off, because with the market down, there's just not as many projects that can make money. But also, like, it's just too much content for people to digest, and people can't get into all of them the way that I do. Where is my top 10 projects right now? Top 10 projects, top 10 projects, top 10 projects. Well, I'll get you that link later. I can't find it right now. It's around here somewhere. Go to my channel and you can find it there. More important than not footing your own bag is honesty and transparency. Yes. I Yeah, you do always have to be careful just because here's the problem as a YouTuber is that like if I say something negative, then people do tend to go sell. And on the same token, if I say something positive, people do tend to go buy. But I guess I don't know. I feel more responsible if I cause people to sell. For some reason, I feel guilty about that. Like I did hurt the protocol just by opening my mouth. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel kind of guilty about it. And maybe I shouldn't, but I do. Like I know if I say negative things about Strong, maybe somebody who is going to get into Strong doesn't, and I could be wrong, and then I just lost an investor there for them. So I don't know. I guess I feel a little weird about saying negative things, but don't say I don't feel bad saying positive things, but I feel bad saying negative things. So I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a people pleaser. Who knows? I love grape nodes. So grape nodes might be you're talking about grape finance, I assume. They might be my um they're in my top 5 projects. I agree. I'm in Seifu, but without big sell limits, it will become Titano and Libero in 3 months. Yeah, there's too many tokens in those auto compounder. I don't know why. I don't like the auto compounders at all. If they don't have something like this lock or connected to a tomb fork, I'll never. You won't even see me do a video on another auto compounder. I just don't like them. I don't think they're good. Okay, Martin, there we go. He's there. He's our AMA guy. Once they hit max supply, it'll become deflationary because a certain percentage is burned in every transaction. No more auto rebasing. Okay, so and that's after a year, I believe, that they thought that would happen, or is it a certain number? Let's see. And then some projects I don't know about. What do you know about XA Alto? Honestly, I don't know anything about that. I'm not. Is that part of Alto protocol? I'm not totally sure. This is again why I like to do AMAs because, like, yeah, some of these things you guys might know more than I do. I don't remember reading about that when I was looking over things. Let's see, we got a lot of comments. I love this. Yeah, keep asking the questions. I'll stick around at least for another 20 minutes or so. What do you think? Grape nodes still worth getting in? Yes, I do think grape is very good. Anything that is sticking above peg. Let me get to the right window. Anything that is sticking above peg consistently, that's a tomb fork worth getting into, in my opinion. And they've just done such a good job. I'm so proud of the grape community just for keeping. I mean, they're not even like 1.16 is way above peg. Okay, and there's this. I don't know. They keep building new things. Um, I love grape finance, and it's definitely not too late to get in if that's what you mean by grape nodes. Okay, if you lock for at least 90 days, you're eligible for the tidal wave rebate cycle. Okay, so that's a really good thing to clarify. When you're locking, you're not eligible for the 25% liquidity thing they're doing once a quarter. If you do one of these, it's only for this one. Okay, so this is where I would lock is this 90-day. I would not want to lock more than 90 days personally. So I'm surprised that the TVL is so low on this one. To me, that's where I would put the most. Splassive price is a real bummer. Yeah, Splassive, yeah, they had an exploit. A lot of those algorithmic coins do end up with exploits. Like there's just they're hard contracts to get right. Yeah, Frozen Walrus. So I think it's one of the team members of Grape. Um, and so again, it's very early. So I would consider it kind of similar to this Ames, where it's a very early tomb fork pegged to a stable coin. So it's going to be high risk, high reward. There'd be a part of me who would question, well, why not just do Grape instead of that? But maybe if you want to spread out a little bit, there are so many new tomb forks coming out. I hope that there's don't dilute themselves too much. I'm not familiar with Quantix Cube. I'm on vacation, so I haven't been keeping up to date with things maybe as much. Tavern. So the Tavern team, I love the Tavern team. I keep saying that. Yeah, they've had a really tough time price wise. Again, I'll just pull up their chart. They were at one point making me over $1,000 a day, but I kind of recognize like there wasn't much to do with the token. Let's see, it's actually called Need. There wasn't much to do with the token other than just either compound or sell it. And so it's just, yeah, you end up with running out of utility, and then you end up with just constant sell pressure. Again, that's one where it'd be better if they had limited, like, hey, you get up to 200%. Because like Horde has very low returns, and then it dies after a certain amount of time. Your plot does. And again, just look at what their chart has done. This chart looks choppy, but this is all from 98 to 103. Okay, and they're kind of designed to be a stable coin at $100, and it's working really well. Any thoughts on Thor? They're putting all their eggs into this Gods of Asgard game, which is really cool. And actually, one of my lives, maybe later this week, is going to be me gameplay of their beta. Actually, I don't know when that's going to be ready. Probably, maybe not this week, but it's a very cool game. Okay, it started off looking like kind of, I thought it looked pretty lame, but then they've put a lot of work into it. And talking to the game makers, the math that they've run is that they think the price of Thor, if the game takes off the way they think it will, they think it could send the price of Thor up to like $200. Now they said they would send me the math for how they got to those numbers, and I haven't gotten it yet. But they're kind of, it's a Hail Mary for the Thor team. With this Gods of Asgard game. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's an experiment. I don't know. We'll have to play the game because it's hard for me to, like, I know the Thor community will play it, but it's like, will people outside of the Thor community play this game? Is it going to be fun enough for people, non-crypto people to play? And we don't know the answer to a lot of those questions. People actually take this idiot seriously. I hope you're not referring to me, Joshua. I don't. Do you have a question, or is that a question to me, or is that a question for the community? I don't know what you're wanting. So I'm going to go on to the next question. If you want to talk about something, or say you disagreed with something, or we talk through something, I think that would be more helpful for everyone. This kind of comment honestly just makes you look kind of stupid, in my opinion. But again, if I'm an idiot, then maybe my opinion doesn't matter. But is there any up and coming projects that have a good shot at being the next drip that you're eyeing? So there's been a lot of forks that have come out. Probably the two that I feel the best about are Piston Token and this HNW DeFi are kind of the two. Now, with the market the way it is, they've had a little bit of struggle. Piston Token especially has some cool things they're working on, but again, those are in the roadmap. So it's like, well, when are they going to build them? But I actually, one of the things, I'm kind of a sucker for just like fun little things, and just the theming of Piston Token, which I don't know, is the website not working? Is my internet not working? But this is another one, is this H Fuel. I think the Piston website's not necessarily working the best. But I think that's a good one. So then I'm gonna let's see. We'll go through more questions. I don't have to answer all these. Do you have much in BTC and Ethereum, and most in income platforms? Yeah, so I have quite a bit of Bitcoin staked on Nexo, and then I have quite a bit of Bitcoin staked on Bomb.money. They have actually a really cool, pretty cool, where you can just stake. Oh no, Java update. You can just stake your Bitcoin directly here. And the APR right now is like 40%, but that'll go up if they can get back above peg. Basically, what they're doing behind the scenes is they're taking your Bitcoin and they're selling it, and they're putting it into their Bomb.money tomb fork, and then giving you some of the rewards. So it's currently, though, they make it just really easy where you can just send your Bitcoin and stake it here, and you get 40% on your Bitcoin. BTC Proxy is another one, but the rewards you get are in their proxy token. So if you want actually So you're getting 95% APR, and it's insured by the custodianship holders. Nexo gives like 8%, but I think they might be stopping for US. And honestly, the only reason I don't move everything away from Nexo is because I actually have, I'm doing some leverage trading where you can use your Bitcoin as collateral and then borrow. And I'm doing some of that. James, it is okay to criticize dApps, negative or positive. That's your job. And also try to save people to get burned on projects. Yeah, I'm working through that. I'm working through that. So thank you for your opinion, though. I definitely do. If I feel very strongly that you shouldn't get it, like I'll say very strongly without naming particular projects, I don't like auto compound projects unless they're doing something else in addition to it. Okay. So I'll be like very upfront about that. Um, but I don't like calling out specific projects and saying too negative of things about it. I did it with Strong, but it's pretty rare that I do that. Okay, so Alto is the receipt you get when you stake Alto in the bank. Is there anything, Martin? I'll ask you, AMA with Martin. Can you do anything with that Alto? Like, are they gonna? Is there anything that you can do with that? Stake it somewhere else? And by the way, if you're just joining us, please do hit the like button. Appreciate all you guys showing up and just hanging out for a little bit. What is Apex? So Apex is it's a project, which I'm going to have an AMA with them. So we'll talk more about. I honestly don't know a whole lot about them yet. Any thoughts on the Web3 project and their utilities? Yeah, so I have an AMA. If you haven't watched my AMA with the Web3 project, yeah, definitely go check that out. They're doing a lot of cool things. I haven't followed them as much as I should, so I don't really, honestly, I don't know what's new with them. I have some Web3 tokens, but I can check their chart, but I can't. I haven't heard what they have going on here coming up. Can I get to the chart? I just want to see how my tokens there are doing. Thanks for reminding me. Does Cubo have any chance of resurgence? I made the mistake of not selling anything. So Bruno, again, this is part of my problem is I've become friends. Oh, that chart doesn't look good. That's the Web3 chart. Oh, that's terrible. Well, I hope they're doing some new things. Maybe I should have that team back on, but that's a bummer. I have a bunch of Web3 tokens. Probably should have sold up here, right? That's one problem when you're in too many projects is you don't pay close enough attention to what's going on. But one problem I have is I do these AMAs, and so like Bruno, the founder of Cubo, like really good friends with him, right? And so then it's just hard for me to like talk about Cubo and like talk about how they're going to be doing. Bruno's a really smart guy and he's doing a lot of stuff, but we're just past node season. Like there's just not new buyers. And so it's just hard. If there's no new buyers and there's sell pressure, the price just has to go down. Ames is the BUSD tomb fork. Yes. So that's actually what this is about. This video is Ames, the tomb fork, which I really like, and then Alto protocol, which is the same ecosystem. And particularly what I like about Alto is their bank, where you can get rewards and other tokens, and you lock up. And I really like as an investor to see there's so much locked up for a year, even though that's not what I would do. I like to see that others have done that. A lot of people talking about Apex, so we'll do another AMA for Apex soon. Do you think 100 Grape nodes is enough to live off for the rest of the year, and how do you take profits? So if you're talking about Grape finance, let me switch over to I can't remember what the APR on the Grape nodes changes. I think right now it's at like 1.2% daily. Maybe I should stop drinking coffee. It's 8:30 here. Probably not going to stay up too late. So 100 here. Hold on. Let me connect to AVAX so I can actually see the numbers. Connect. Show me the numbers. Okay, so I have 68 grape nodes, it looks like, at 1.63% a day. And a grape node is worth 58 bucks. So if you had 100 of those, obviously I don't need a calculator for that. 5,800 bucks. So you're making about 94 bucks a day. So I mean, it depends on your living, but yeah, like about 2,800 bucks a month. Um, how I would take profit. This is how I take profit, and um, if you're this much over peg, to me, it's okay to sell some grape. So I would try to get some wine going instead of just your grape nodes, because again, the wine is getting one. Actually, that's not that much higher than the grape nodes, but so maybe not. Maybe just keep going with those grape nodes. But you can go ahead and sell some grape. Just keep an eye on this peg, because if this gets below one, and so if it starts getting close, don't sell grapes, because what people don't realize is if you get below peg, all the APRs are going to go way down. Like these nodes are not going to be making anything if it goes below peg. So, and that's part of how these tomb forks can be hard to calculate too, because you might think, okay, I'm going to be making 3,000 bucks a month off my 100 grape nodes. I'm going to retire. But if you go below peg, then one thing about these grape nodes is you can't withdraw your grape out of there, right? You're just getting the 1.63% a day. Whereas in this grape min liquidity pool, or this grape here, you're getting way lower APRs, but you can take that out anytime you want. So again, you could stake here where your daily APR is going to be 0.8. So that's quite a bit lower. But if we get way under peg and this APR goes to 0.2 or something like that, you can get your grape out and sell it. So again, there's just a lot of things to think through. We got a lot of questions. Do you still feel good about Hyperfund for starting off? No, I don't. So I've had a lot of luck with Hyperfund, but people say they have trouble withdrawing. So I just, I don't know. I feel bad recommending them. Yes. So the lead and the dev claim that someone hacked into the dev's wallet and took all the money. So it's hard to tell. Was it an exploit? Was it a hack? Was it just a rug? But it is a bummer. Like, I don't know. I've been brainstorming how we can stop things from like this from happening, because it's like, how could have we stopped Bamboo Finance? I actually liked Bamboo Finance. I hadn't done a video on them yet, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's COTPS. Hopefully, they say they're just having trouble with withdrawing. Hopefully, it's not just a rug pull. Max says James can be everything, but stupid is not one of them. James is a cool guy. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. It's been good for me as an influencer, because like if you're on my Twitter, especially, just get a lot of hate, and yeah, I'm just not used to it. Like I'm kind of a people pleaser, and like in person, I just pretty much get along with most people. So it's been weird as I come online, and now on Twitter I have like 39,000 followers or something, and just so people have a lot of problems with things that I do. So it's good for me to not be too much of a people pleaser, not care too much what people are think. JB, dropping a like. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you, JB. JB is on all my AMAs. I appreciate it. Please do hit the like button. Do appreciate that as well. Don says, please ignore the idiots. We all appreciate your work. Thank you very much. I do appreciate criticism. So I don't want to be like, don't say anything negative to me. But if you just hop on and say, you're an idiot, that is not constructive. That's not criticism. It's not helpful really for anyone, and not even for you, honestly. Like why did you, if you don't like me, but you spent some of your time to go onto one of my lives and say and you took the time to type in you're an idiot, like that, I don't know, that makes me sad, honestly, that I think, like, just, I don't know, you should find something else to do, probably. Hey, no worries being late, Matthias. The replay of this will be available if you missed anything. Ever heard of Ever BTC launching today? No, that sounds interesting though. I'm less and less interested in things that are launching soon, and I'm more and more like, hey, if it's been around, we've just seen so many launches that go terrible, and so I'm like just less and less interested in getting in on things early because I'd rather just, hey, did the launch go okay? Are they, been around for a few weeks and they haven't been hacked or rug pulled or exploited? So I'm almost to the point. Um, I'm going to do very few pre-launch videos going forward. I'd rather get in later when it's more established. So yes, I am going to be in Sacramento for a little bit. I have my wife and my 3 kids, and again, the 4 college students that live with us, and another family and their kids. So I'm not sure if I like be available, but it would be cool to meet up with some people sometime. Any thoughts on Pulse X Chain? Yes. I like it. I heard it was delayed, I think is what last I saw. I might be going to PulseCon, which is their conference. I don't know that much about it, but I know there's a lot of hype about it. Isn't it unsafe to send your BTC to another wallet or address that you don't control, like bomb stacking? Maybe in theory. So it depends on your. So I'm not really in crypto for the decentralization of it. Um, Honestly, I don't really care that much about that. I'm in crypto as an investor, as a way to make money. So, um, my wallet could get hacked. BTC Bomb.money's wallet could get hacked. So I don't know. I don't really know that honestly, they probably have better security measures in place than I do. So if you don't trust Bomb.money, then yeah, definitely don't send them your Bitcoin. They could. I mean, there wouldn't be much stopping them from running away with it. The same as in all these protocols, like Ames. Depending on like what their multi-sig looks like and things like that. And that's why I do like. Oh, lost my share screen. I want to get a share screen back. I want to show you something. Give me 1 second here. Okay, yeah, here we go. If you go back to like Grape, let's do Ames since that's what this video is about. So one thing I like that they do is they're just very upfront. I think that they have just the addresses here. So I mean, they have all their addresses of like all the different tokens. The one I was thinking of was actually Grape. They actually show their wallets and like what's in their treasury, and I just appreciate um, and I know the founders pretty well of Grape. So, but like they just show the wallet and what exactly is in it. And so I just appreciate that transparency. It helps And that's the same with Bomb.money. Is I know the founders personally pretty much, um, and so I just trust them a lot. Um, Love your work, James. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. One more point about Alto: 39% of Alto's supply burned, plus 25% locked in the bank. 65% supply is already accounted for. They plan to burn more to get to 51% supply burned. Yeah, so that is really cool. That is much different than a lot of the auto compounders, so that will make it safe. Let's see. Yeah, this was what I was wondering, Shola, is if so X Alto. So when you put your Alto in the bank, which again, let me go back to there. When you put your Alto in the bank, you get X Alto tokens as like a receipt to show that you have it in there. And in the future, there are some things where they could say like, "Hey, maybe stake your X Alto." So you get it in the bank, and you also get some return for the X Alto token. Or maybe they could do something like this is a little bit riskier, but do you guys remember? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. What's the well here, I'll use busm.money. So this is a mem fork that bomb.money built. And so basically what you can do on bomb.money is you can get X bombs, which is basically kind of similar to what we're talking about here, where you get X altos. But then what you can do is you can use your X bomb as liquidity or as collateral to borrow BUSM, which is a stable coin. So you can basically, they might do something like that where, hey, use your X Alto as collateral, and then you can borrow some other, maybe BUSD or maybe Ames or something like that. Now the risk is you can get liquidated. Remember, this is what happened with Time Wonderland, is they got liquidated, because that can happen if the price goes down too much. So maybe that wouldn't be good in the long run, but it gives you some ideas for utility for Alto. Let's see. Bruno was so likable. Yes, he is. He still is. Very likable guy. Do you see yourself creating your own project within 10 years? Yes, absolutely, I do. I think I'm more, so I kind of have like a business background. So I ran my own, I'll just show you guys. I got the screen up here. So I wrote the software for mobile text alerts, which was a SMS marketing company. And I wrote like the platform. Then I actually sold that business in 2020. And that's where I got a lot of my initial capital to kind of get started in crypto and investing in general. So I kind of have a business background. And so what you do in business is you think, what's a problem? And then what's a possible solution that people will pay for? So that's what business is you're looking, what's a problem in life that people have? And then you come up with a solution for it, and hey, people will pay for your solution. And we've kind of gotten away from that in crypto, where it's not really problem solution oriented. And so that's what I really like about like BioFi and Biometric Financial and DAG. What DAG's doing is they're finding problems and then building solutions for them, like real world solutions. And so that's what I would like to do. So what I like about crypto is it makes venture capital really easy to acquire. So if you build a project and put a token out there, like Tomb Fork is a great way to raise capital to build something. So once I have more time too, I'm still it is quite a bit of work actually building YouTube, a community there and a Twitter community and traveling around. But at some point, yes, I would like to build my own project. What's your top altcoins? So my top altcoins are DAG, BioFi, Flux, maybe Kadena, although I'm a little sad about their marketing efforts. What else? LTX, which is on the DAG network. Those are all the tokens that I dollar cost average. If you've seen my video about my dollar, if I'm not logged into KuCoin, I'm not going to show it to you guys because I have to go grab my phone to do my authenticator. But maybe, sorry, not going to show you. But I have a bunch of KuCoin dollar cost average bots that just buy $250, $500, $300, or whatever. Flux, Kadena, but DAG and LTX and BioFi are probably my favorite right now. Don't let it bother you too much, James. Negative comments are more of a reflection of the individual than the words used. Usually come from low self-esteem. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. I did notice that when we hit more of a bear market, they come more often. So I do think that people get upset about they're losing money, and if it's a project that I've talked about, then it becomes kind of like, hey, you talked about this project. It's your fault that I lost money on it. And I understand that, like I am taking some responsibility, like I'm talking about BioFi and Ames DeFi, and I am taking a little bit of responsibility if you get into it, but not a ton. Like I'm wrong a lot of times. I think my best strategy has been to diversify. So if I get in enough projects, this one missed, but I hit on 80% and end up making a lot of money that way. Top 3 things that you look at before investing or selling. The team, for sure, is the number one thing that I'm looking at. Is, do I trust the team? And, sometimes people make fun of me for, do you trust the team? Some people look at just like blockchain security and things like that, but it's like, I don't know, there's always ways for people to be dishonest. I would rather talk to somebody face to face and get to know them, and then like just have a level of trust and rapport with them. So that's the number one thing I look at. Are they arrogant? Like, not to get preachy on you, but Bible says pride cometh before destruction, or pride cometh before the fall. Some translations have it. So if you took that into crypto, pride comes before the fall. That's not what it means in Proverbs, obviously. But so if I talk with a team and they're super arrogant, like they just seem prideful, they're talking negatively about other projects, things like that. Like it's probably not going to be something that I'm big into. That's why I love BioFi. Is just love the team and trust the team a lot. So that's you said three things. That's tough. The second thing is, I guess I've just learned. That's a really good question. What do I look for before investing? I do look for hype. And why is there hype? Is something you do need hype for things to go up. Like you think about like Dogecoin. Dogecoin has no utility. It doesn't do anything, but it made a lot of people a lot of money just because of the hype. So I do look at what is there hype around right now is something that I consider, and do I think that hype can continue? So Seifu is a good example. Again, not to speak negatively about them, but they had a ton of hype. But then just as we hit bear market and there's so many, I think they've lost some hype. And it's hard to keep that much hype forever. We'll use Dogecoin as an example. It's just hard to keep that much hype forever. So I consider hype, but it's not like a main thing. If I see a crypto project that is solving a big problem, then I'll go all in on that probably. I do think the blockchain and I do think crypto is going to change pretty much every industry. The way that the internet interrupted business, I think blockchain will do also. And it might be 5 years, might be 10 years before that starts to happen. I mean, the internet is still working its way into some business. I have a friend who they're still like paper-based, their business, and he's trying to like move them onto computers. So, I mean, even that businesses take a long time to migrate, but I think the blockchain will change lives. So, let's see. I think I might have to hop off here. I hear the kids. I probably should be assisting my wife in getting them to bed. So in Crypto Truth Bombs, some loser is posing as him. Okay, so any of the hate comments from Crypto Truth Bombs about Alto are not from him, actually. So that is good to know. YouTube does make it easy to steal profiles and stuff. So DGen Finance. Yeah, I have an AMA with the founder of DGen Finance coming up. What day is that? Maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I would buy any James Pelton crypto project. Hey, Shola, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wish I had more time because I have a lot of ideas, more ideas than time. But it's just one thing I probably will not. The way I'm thinking about it right now is I probably will not launch my own token. I'd rather do an NFT. There's just so much stress that goes into a token. I'd rather do like just an NFT project that I use as a fundraiser to do something else. That's kind of what I'm thinking about now, but it'll probably be a ways off. So I'm still, trying to figure out YouTube and Twitter and investing and all these other things. I don't have a lot of extra time. So where can you buy Ames and A share? I'm so glad that you asked. Yeah, I talked about where you buy Alto. To buy Ames and A share, there's going to be a few ways that you can do that. It's on the Binance network, so make sure you're on Binance, BSC, and then you can just go here. It'll take you to PancakeSwap. I'm guessing they have Zaps in the farms. So like the farms are liquidity pool tokens. They're not straight Ames tokens, so they're a little bit hard to get set up. Let me just approve this real quick and see if they have a Zap. I know they have a Zap in the auto compounder. So actually, maybe I'll show you what that looks like. I'm not sure if they do here. My laptop just switched to night mode. That's when you know it's getting time to hop off. Okay, it doesn't look like they have a Zap here. I'm guessing they'll build one to get these LP tokens automatically. But for now, yeah, if you want an LP token, if you're not familiar how to do this, on PancakeSwap, you have to have an equal amount of BUSD and Ames in your wallet, and then you can say like I want 500, so that'd be 483 because it's a little bit overpeg. But then you can create this liquidity pool token, and then that's how you stake here once you have it created. Now, what they've done with the auto compounder is you can zap in where you can just say, I just want to send in BUSD, and we'll say I want $15,000 of this, and you just click zap, and it'll just turn it into this token and put it in automatically, and you get that 1.28% a day. So pretty cool. Pride cometh before destruction. Yeah, Proverbs 16:18. Yep. Very cool AMA. A lot of info. That's great. Yeah, thank you for watching, Matthias. Yeah, actually, back on this, I have an idea for a book, which is I want to write proverbs for entrepreneurs because there's a lot of them. There's a proverb that again, not to get preachy, but where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but much revenue comes from the strength of an ox. Okay, so that's like a ton there. That's a very wise business principle. Is yeah, if you don't get involved in business, then it's simpler, but there's a lot of revenue that comes from the strength of an ox. So there's just a lot of good nuggets in Proverbs. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of MetaFi yielders. I'm not a huge fan on things that offer big returns right now. They're just not working out very well. So I'm actually looking for more lower return things. I posted on my Twitter just something I'll keep you guys aware of since we're here. But juicy field. So I'm really, as a Christian, I'm really kind of debating through um, the ethics of marijuana and medicinal marijuana and recreational marijuana if it's legal. But this is a website that allows you to invest in marijuana plants. So I posted that on my Twitter today. Just to go check out my Twitter if you have opinions on that. If that's like something a Christian should be involved in, that's something I'm kind of working through. Platforms or freelancers to launch own project with no knowledge of coding. Upwork. Honestly, this is a huge problem in Web3. There's a lot of Web2 program. Okay, first off, there's not a lot of programmers in general, right? And we'll kind of end with this, I think, because I'm getting very tired, and I hear my kids, and I know my wife wants help putting them to bed. But there's not a lot of programmers in general, right? Like there's very few programmers, and then the programmers that there are, there's very few like blockchain programmers. So we actually have like a huge shortage of blockchain programmers. So that's one thing that I'm looking for, projects that help transition Web 2.0 programmers to Web 3.0. So like Notify, I did a video with them, but they're working on educating Web 2.0 people to get into Web 3.0. Because again, if this is the future, if you have kids or if you're thinking about what should I study in school, I would point them towards like blockchain programming, honestly, or security, blockchain security. Like there's going to be tons and tons and tons of industries there. And like blockchain programmers, I mean, you can make six figures if you're decent at it. You can make six figures like right out of school. To be honest, okay, I'll be totally honest. I dropped out of school to kind of start my own business, but like you don't need as a programmer, there's like just a lot of ways to make money. We'll just leave it at that. So anyways, we'll leave it there. On our way out, if you could hit the like button, that would be great. And thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. It's fun to talk with you guys. I like doing these AMAs sometimes where it's just like ask whatever, and I can just talk about everything that I have on my mind instead of like one topic. So I'm going to try to do these at least once a week or once every other week. But I appreciate all you guys coming. Please do hit the like button. Reach out if you need anything. Again, I want to just be as helpful as I can to you as a community. But yeah, stay happy. Have a good night's sleep. If you've never read the Bible before, you should give it a read. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. Spend more time thinking about eternity than you do like your problems that you have today. guess that's some final thoughts that I'd have for you. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you coming and watching. So, yep, everybody have a good night.